biking does lend itself really well to having mental health conversations, because you are cycling side by side and therefore not kind of gazing into each other's eyes. It's a bit more comfortable. I suppose when you're out doing any sort of activity, but cycling is a great example of that. It takes the focus away from any conversation that you have and takes the intensity off it. So, you know, if you don't want to talk about anything specific, you don't need to, and you can just keep cycling and talking about where you are and what you're up to.
Coming from a small country town, like, you would never ever sit down with your mates on a Friday night and start kind of opening up. It would be like, how was your week? Yeah, fine, okay, how's everything else? Yeah, fine, and start talking about football or something like that. You would never ever sit down and open up. I think it's a generational thing that men had to be men and never kind of open up. It was seen as a kind of weakness.
I think it's always that one, like, straight away you usually go to fine, good, but actually sometimes when people give you the how are you really, you kind of take another second to think about it, and I think sometimes that gives you a good opening to then share a little bit of actually how you really are feeling and maybe be a little bit more honest, and that's kind of when you get into some of the good chat about actually how you're feeling. Even if it's just kind of everyday stresses and, you know, bits of nerves and things, like when you can share it with other people, and if you realise that other people are feeling the same, it just makes you feel better.
I suppose these rides, they're not just about opening the door to mental health conversations, they're about being quite explicit that clubs are a really welcoming environment for anybody, and increasing the inclusivity of clubs. I think if a ride's about biking and blethering and that's the focus, then, you know, naturally people start to assume that it's going to be maybe a pace that suits them a bit better, and the standard's going to be, you know, less about technical riding and fitness and more about, you know, the social aspect, which is what the majority of cyclists actually want from a club environment.
The Bike and Blather project's for anyone and everyone, all ages, abilities. It's just about creating that really encouraging environment for everyone to come along, ride their bikes, have a chat, and just feel supported, whether it's having mental health conversations or not, just, you know, really creating that inclusive environment.
There's a tribalism towards it, and that when you're all on bikes, you start to feel part of the same tribe, you're all doing the same thing. I think that leads to a connection which would let people feel as if they're safe and have the ability to open up a little more. If you had to do the same thing in a room, I don't think you'd have the same effect.
This is Bike and Blather.